That's not straight. It's okay, neither am I. That's probably the worst decision I've ever made. There's an app I need to... I hope it works. I really hope it doesn't blow up in my face. That would actually be terrible. Oh. It works. What do you think? She doesn't give a single shit, but I like it. Hello! I'm back! The reason why I have been away for that long is because I didn't know how to continue with the videos, because I want to do like a massive deep dive on ARCANE as a show. The plot, the characters, everything. And I didn't know how to start it. So I was like, I want to make a big summary of all the ARCANE episodes, and at the same time I wanted to make like separate videos about specific characters, like a deep dive on Caitlyn, a deep dive on Vi, Jinx, everyone, and their relationship as well. So I was like, how do I talk about Jinx without talking about Vi, without talking about Caitlyn? Anyways, there were many things I was questioning, but I think I figured it out. This is basically gonna be a huge series of videos that will be continuing each other. You'll understand. I'm gonna start by watching all the episodes of ARCANE. I've already watched them. I know what's gonna happen. It won't be like reaction videos, but I've watched ARCANE recently with a friend. She was watching it for the first time, and I wanted to talk like every 2 seconds about, did you know actually this means that? And I was like, no, I can't do this because I'm gonna lose a friend. So I was like, I'm gonna keep this for YouTube. So you have to sit through it. You don't have a choice, actually. I'm kidnapping you. But this is gonna be me going through the show, pointing out what I think, my interpretation of things, how I think the scenes are important for the plot, not getting into too many details when it comes to the characters, because I will keep that for further videos. But yeah, this is basically gonna be a long ride of me going through every fucking details in ARCANE. And also like Easter eggs, because while watching ARCANE with my friend, I was like, there are so many things that only League of Legends players can understand that are never explained. Basically, you just have to play the game to understand, or to know the League of Legends lore to understand. So I will be explaining some stuff with my knowledge, because I'm no expert in League of Legends lore. Because a lot of people who watch ARCANE never played the game, which is a good thing. Don't start playing League of Legends because you want more ARCANE content. Don't do that, please. I've been playing League of Legends for years now. It drains your soul and it makes you a toxic person. Don't do that. There are many tiny games for League of Legends. They're great. But League of Legends itself, don't play it. Really. That's for your own good. But basically, today I'm gonna be watching Season 1, Episode 1. It's like a reaction. I'm sorry, am I bothering you? Can you move? Thank you. So yeah, this is the start of the ARCANE Thoughts series, starting with watching the episodes and then deep dive. So let's get to it. That's right. They like to like start right away with like lots of funny things, optimism, good vibes, you know? I think it's nice that the first scene of the show is Jinx singing the song, and like one of the last scenes in the show is Vi singing that same song. I just love that little throwback. You know, they never... Am I dumb? Am I not remembering something? They never explained what happened that day, right? We know that Vander was there, Silco was there, Jinx and Vi's parents died in the attack, but we don't really know what actually happened. We know that it was the breaking point between Silco and Vander, but we never got any details about that. Am I not remembering them explaining it? I like this. The little Jinx It's the same thing we find when Vi puts on the Enforcer uniform and Jinx sees her for the first time with the Enforcer uniform. It's the same thing that goes on Vi's face. It's a nice way of showing that Jinx was like thrown back to that moment of Enforcers killing her family, and in a way Vi died putting on the Enforcer uniform. I love that show, man. I also like the lyrics of the song. I know it's a song about Piltover and Zon, like a Zonite song, but it's really like peaceful. The song is like, we raise no mighty towers. It's like, we don't want to harm you, be nice to us. It's their mother's song. So like, I think it's just Vi and Jinx's mother trying to like make them unafraid of Piltover in a way, like showing there can be peace. But at the same time, I think it's pretty funny in a way because Zonites hate Piltover for good reasons. But this song makes me wonder, like, at what point do Zonites understand how brutal the conflict is and like start hating Piltover? They look so small. I love how she's like hiding her eyes, probably because Vi was like, just don't look, Powder. And then she looks up to Vi to try and find some reassurance about what's happening, because she probably doesn't know, she's not seeing anything, so she doesn't know what's happening. So she looks up to Vi and Vi is like shocked. So something fucked up is going on. And then she looks at the scene and realizes that something fucked up is going on. It really shows how Powder was already relying on Vi at the time. That Vi has always been this anchor for her. They look so small, man. I've seen the show and it's still like... Ugh. But this is the necklace I told you guys about in the alternative reality in season 2. When we see like Jinx in the alternative reality, which is technically Powder, with that necklace, which is Vander's necklace or bracelet. Vander's bracelet, but a necklace for the girls. You know, when I first started watching the show, I thought, I don't know why, but I thought that Vander didn't know Vi and Jinx before the attack, and he was just like the last adult standing, and he realized that the girls were orphans, so he was like, I'm gonna take care of you, you're safe. But then, in season 2, they explained us that he was actually already a family's friend. So, yeah, get him! This is really like... See, I thought, since they have such like strong reaction of, first of all, Vi pulling Powder behind her, as if protecting her, and they kind of step back, so I really thought they didn't know the man, and they were like, is he gonna attack us? But no. This is the last time Vander fought anyone, because after that I think he was just like, I have to take care of the girls, they don't have their parents anymore, and it's full defense mode and no longer trying to act for Zon. Also, I think another reason for why he stopped fighting is because we know that this night was the night he lost Silco as well. Like, he tried and almost killed Silco. I think that's that night, right? And we know he felt a lot of remorse for acting that way with Silco, and maybe he was like, yeah, I'm done fighting, because the last time he fought someone, you know. Baby, no. Oh, they... Please, I hate this. Why am I hurting myself with this? I've seen the show, I could have just moved on. I love how we can already see Jinx is dependent of Vi, because you see how she immediately looks up to Vi. Vi is crying. What the fuck is going on? She doesn't understand. She knows that her big sister is crying. She doesn't cry because she doesn't understand the gravity of the situation, even though like she sees her mother dead, but she doesn't grasp the concept of death at this age. She's just like, why is my big sister crying? But if my big sister is crying, then something fucked up is going on. The way she's like, my big sister is crying, I don't get what's happening, but she's crying, so something important is going on. And she hugs Vi, trying to comfort her, even though she doesn't know what's going on. Ah! I love and hate this show so much. The gloves. He drops them, but he has the gloves in the last drop, right? That's probably just a symbolic way of showing that he stops fighting at that moment. You know, that's actually quite insane as a beginning for a show. Because you see this and you think this is gonna create a villain. The way she looks at the enforcers, and you understand the pain and the desperation, and you're like, yeah, this is definitely gonna be the main villain of the show. No. It could have been. It should have been. It should have created a villain. But it shows already how Vi is just full of love and has a big heart because she grows up kind and she remains kind and like even ends up with an enforcer. That really shows how she just has so much love to give. She could never be a villain. Oh, I really wonder what could have happened if they never went on that job. Well, obviously Jace would have created Hextech at some point, but they would be alive, all of them. So maybe there would not be wars between Zon and Piltover like we saw in the alternative universe. And maybe Jace stayed true to what he wanted to do with Hextech at first, which was like improve lives instead of creating weapons.
One day, I'm gonna ride in one of those things.
I saw that on Twitter. When I saw someone point this out on Twitter, I was like going crazy. Because you know how when I reacted to episode 9 of season 2, I was like theorizing about Jinx being the one on the airship. And then I went on Twitter and I saw someone being like, remember one of the first sentences Powder says on the show is, one day I'm gonna ride in one of those things. And I was like, oh my god, those bastards. But it just confirms that Jinx is alive and I really like that, and maybe we're gonna see her in like some other Arcane show or a spin-off. Also, I think it's a nice detail that Vi is the only one of all the characters with the same voice actress for when they're young than when they're adults. She already had like too many responsibilities for a child, which led her to grow up way too fast. Hence the voice of an adult.
Look, if we get caught,
we're not gonna get caught. We'll be in and out before anyone notices.
Yeah, no. Cupcakes. When I first watched the show, I was going crazy over this. As someone who played the game before Arcane dropped, I knew of the characters. Caitlyn and Vi have been a couple since 2014, if I'm not mistaken. They have basically been canon since then. And in the game, Vi was already calling Caitlyn Cupcake. And in game, Caitlyn has this ability where she puts traps, and in the center of the trap, there's a cupcake. So when I first watched the episode, I was like, cupcakes! I'm gonna be honest, since it was made by Netflix, I was really skeptical about Caitlyn and Vi becoming canon, but then again, I was like, I trust, and this is the only time I will say this, I trust Riot for respecting the characters. So I watched Arcane with that in mind, and when I saw the cupcakes, I was like, yo. I love how Milo was just annoying as fuck. He's just like the classic brother.
I'm ready.
That's right. So?
I hate the fact that this is how she reassures Powder by telling her, you can do this. You are ready. And then when she doesn't want Powder to come to save Vander, she's like, you're not ready. Goddamn. This is a parallel to the last episode of season 2 when Vi catches Jinx's hand, but this time Jinx lets go and lets herself fall. Ah! Why am I doing this to myself? I could just be happy and go on with my life. Find a new hobby. Don't be a dick. I love him, but he's annoying as fuck. He is one of the main voices Jinx hears whenever she has those voices in her head. Because he was always like just so negative towards her, which is the average Big Brother experience. But still. See, okay, I have something to say about this because it drives me crazy whenever I go on like social media and I see headcanons on characters, which are so far from what I think of the characters. And I'm like, what? and I don't know, it pisses me off so bad. Especially like characters I love so much, like Vi. Because I've seen people say Vi cannot read. Since when? The first thing she goes for when she robs the place are books. And it's canon that Vi loved like action books, adventure books when she was a kid. She knows how to read. I think people just assume she cannot read because she's poor, which is fucked up, by the way. Don't make headcanons if you don't know the characters or inform yourself on the characters, because it's literally, why would you even make that headcanon? I'm trying to look at everything and trying to find possible Easter eggs, because I've already picked up a few things when I first watched the show, and every time I watch Arcane I pick up new things. So now I'm going to absolutely absorb every image.
I think this is a real Valdiani.
What about this?
Milo.
Before Milo fills the bag with junk.
That's so disgusting. Like, he is such a boy. Like, disgusting, rude. That's the universal brother experience. Like, this guy finds a nose hair trimmer and uses it. But I also love the fact that this shows already how knowledgeable and smart Jinx is already, because she's the youngest of them all and she knows things that they don't know already, like the Valdiani thing. Like, she looks at the little artifact and she knows what it is, and she knows that it's a real one as well. Like, she has the eye to spot real ones from fake ones. It's already like a little hint on how she's the smartest of the show. Fucking sandwiches.
Milo!
That scene is very important because we know what could have happened. The reason why Vi hears Caitlyn and Jace on the other side of the wall is because Caitlyn drops something. This leads to Vi paying attention to what's going on more than she should have, and it also leads to her blocking the door with the chair. I mean, telling Milo to block the door with the chair. And I think that's actually the difference of what happened between this reality and the reality in episode 7 of season 2. Here, the door is blocked so they can escape and avoid the explosion. In the alternative universe, Caitlyn didn't drop the item, which didn't make a noise, so Vi didn't have time to process the information that someone was coming into the apartment. She then went to the door to block the door with her body, which led to the explosion, killing Vi. And I find this beautiful in a way because it really shows how Caitlyn and Vi are just basically soulmates. The reason why Vi is alive in this reality is because Caitlyn saved her, in a way. I think that's really beautiful. Maybe it's just a theory, but it would make sense, because I don't think they explained why Vi died in season 2 episode 7. Knowing what could have happened make this episode hit differently, I think. Run! I love how Vi is already the strongest of them. She's the one carrying the bag. Fucking loser. I love the little... She does. Like, she just came out of the sewers and she's still self-conscious about the hair. Why are you smoking? You're like a teenager. Don't smoke, kids. It's bad for your health. Do drugs instead.
Someone really kicked the nest, huh?
I'm sorry, I just find it so funny that they're kids. All of them are kids. And they're like actual criminals. I don't know, that's so funny to me because he's acting as if he has like 20 years of experience of robbing people. You're 16. Shut the fuck up. Go do your homework.
You know, in my experience, trouble...
What experience? What experience even? I can't take him seriously, for real.
There's no reason this has to get ugly.
Just a taste?
Just...
I love Vi so much. Baby. I find it so interesting how Jinx... I was saying... I find it so interesting how Jinx was never a fighter. Like, she doesn't want to fight. She doesn't like fighting. She goes with them because she has to, in a way. Like, it's the gang, you know, the kids, and she follows them everywhere. She wants to be a part of the team. She doesn't want to fight. She doesn't want to punch people. She just wants to create little inventions. If Powder was born in Piltover, she would have been an academy student just trying to make the world a better place and trying to make inventions that could be useful. But since she was born in an environment where fighting was required, she has to fight and she wants to invent things. So she invents weapons for the fights. This really is something I will talk about later when I do like deep dives on the characters, because that's actually something Caitlyn and Jinx both share, is that they don't fit in the society they were born in. I will go deeper into the details, but Jinx was not meant to be a fighter. She was forced to be one because she was born in Zon. And Caitlyn was not meant to be one of those stuck-up, corrupted hypocrites. She has a good heart and she wants to help people, which is not something that fits most Piltovan people. It's one of the many things they have in common. I actually can't wait to make like deep dives of the characters, especially Jinx and Caitlyn. See, I never understood this because she doesn't know how to fight. Why are you running far away? I refuse to believe there's a world where Vi just lets Powder get kicked in the face next to her. She would have stayed around them. She would have been safe. But once again, it goes back on the fight or flight response of Jinx. She doesn't want to fight. So it's a flight, and she runs away. See? Vi sees Milo in trouble. She goes to help him. She would have done the same with Powder, so Powder really should have stayed with them. But I mean, she's a kid. We can't blame her for anything.
Wanna see how that ends?
This is something I already pointed out with Isha. If you've watched my reactions of Arcane Season 2 Act 3, how the kids from Zon are unimpressed with violence. Normally, when someone threatens you with a knife, you don't go face to face with them and try to threaten them back when you have nothing on you. But Vi is so used to that violence and she knows she can take him in a fight, which is not something a teenager should have as a skill. So I really like this scene because first of all, it tells us that she's a fucking badass. But second of all, it already settles how violence is normalized in Zon. That's right, run away, pussy. Is that a mushroom? It is! Those are Teemo's mushrooms on the wall. That's an Easter egg I never picked up. So for those who don't know, Teemo is a character from League of Legends. And I know he appears many times because there are many Easter eggs I picked up about Teemo. He is a champion from League of Legends and he basically just drops mushrooms that explode when you touch them, which is annoying as fuck. I hate that character. It's the same thing Isha uses in Season 2. to save Jinx. It's like a Mauser thing, except that, well, it works. No, actually it's not. The way Isha uses Mauser in season 2 is exactly for this. Just a diversion, just a smoke bomb. It doesn't actually hurt anyone. I like this, how Jinx turned a failure into something that she actually uses. Like just a smoke bomb, which is not what it was supposed to do, but she still uses it.
It's all right, Powder. At least you're okay.
I get my face bashed in and she just gets a pass?
Yep.
I talked about terrible headcanons about Vi. And I don't know why people are so quick to make terrible headcanons with her. I've seen people say that she's a bad sister, and I understand why they say this, but it's very unfair. Vi has always been protecting Powder. She's really forgiving with Powder, with everything, every mistake she does, because she knows that she's a kid and kids make mistakes. And she's very patient and kind with her. And that's actually a kindness that later on Jinx can give to Isha. Because we see how Jinx acts with Isha. She's like protective in a way that reminds us of how Vi was with Powder. Which is actually a deep dive I want to make. The similarities between Vi and Jinx and Isha. The reason why Jinx was such a good older sister to Isha is because Vi was a good older sister.
She jinxes every job.
Jinx. The first time I watched that show, first of all, I'm not kidding with you, when I watched ARCANE for the first time, I had no idea Jinx's actual name was Powder. So when they started calling her Powder on the show, I was like, wait, this is not Jinx? Are we gonna see Jinx later? Because I know that in the game, Vi and Jinx are sisters. And I was like, oh, blue-haired character, sister of Vi, that must be Jinx. And then she's called Powder, and I was like, what the fuck? But then there's this scene, and I was like, oh my god. I love this foreshadowing that you can only pick up if you've played the game. Isn't that, you know, the old person we see in the background when Caitlyn and Vi first arrive in the lanes? That's him, I think. Another Easter egg. Oh, 2! Oh my god! See, again, are those mushrooms or eggs? If these are mushrooms, it's Timo's mushrooms, like the ones we saw on the wall. But those are Krugs. It's something we can find on the map of League of Legends, like a tiny monster you can kill. I'm sorry, but she's so hot. Every time I watch the episode, I'm like...
Don't threaten the guy who pours the drinks.
You know, I really wonder how they did not know. How do they not know who Vander is? It's like not knowing who Silco is later on. How do you not know the most important figure of Zon, especially when you make business in Vander's bar?
And I'll let you walk out of here in one piece.
Tell them! I love Vander so much.
Do we, have a deal?
I love how he is threatening and could be dangerous because he has everyone behind him, and well, he knows how to fight even though he hasn't fought anyone for a long time. He is scary as fuck for most people, but he's just like a papa bear with 4 kids. I really wonder how he adopted Milo and Clagger though, because we know that he was friends with Vi and Jinx's mother, which was the reason why he adopted them. But what about Milo and Clagger? Fireworks. What time is it? It's not midnight.
Did you even stop to think about what could have happened to you? To them?
It's already really interesting how he addresses Vi. And he will say this later on. She is responsible for all of them. It plays a massive role in Vi's personality because since she was a kid, even on the bridge, she has to be someone people can rely on in order to function in life. That's how she grew up. She is the one they need to rely on.
When did you get so comfortable living in someone else's shadow?
I'm sorry, but it's so funny to me how Vi is a tiny vendor. She's just like him. And Jinx is just like Silco. And I find it so funny because what happened with their actual dad? Because did he even try to pass on things to his kids, because in what world does your kid look like one of your friends more than they look like you?
But whatever happens, it's on you.
I hate that sentence because it's something she grows up. Fuck off. Fucking fireworks. I hate this sentence because that's the reason why she grows up thinking that everything is her fault. And she blames herself for everything that happens on the show. Because that's just something she's been told since she was a kid. That she's the leader. That whatever happens, it's on her. I love Vander so much, but this was not his best move.
Just like it's on me what happens to us down here.
Once again, it shows how Vi and Vander are very similar, because Vander feels like he has the responsibility of the entire Undercity. He is the leader of the Undercity, and he feels like everything that happens is on him. So that's something he passes on Vi, which is not a good thing to pass on a kid, but it forms a massive part of Vi's personality.
You did put that idiot on his arse, though, right?
God, I love Vander. He's like, you mustn't do that. Don't get into fights. But you did win though, right? It's insane how I love every character on this show. And they all die. Fuck them writers. This is the little thing she's gonna use.
You know what, Milo? You're right. There's a bunch of things powder just can't do.
This is this is probably the trope I hate the most in media. It's like someone is eavesdropping on a conversation and the two other people are talking about that person. Like they really say the rudest things about that person, and then the person eavesdropping is hurt and leaves. And then the person who was talking was like, is what I would have said if I hated them, which is not the case. I love them. I hate that trope. Why? Who talks like that in real life?
Nobody comes in.
I love Benzo's shop. It's a mine of Easter eggs. First Easter egg is the helmet you see above the door. It's Trindamer's helmet.
Echo, what's going on with that thing?
Give me a few seconds.
Give me a few seconds. And he's fixing a clock. Another Easter egg is Rabadon's death cap.
How could they be so stupid?
The younger folk think it's the right thing to do.
That's something I love about season 1. It's how complex the social situation is. Vander is right. Piltover is more powerful. And if you piss them off too bad, you're in trouble. But Vi and the kids are right. Like, it's unfair and things need to change. And they should have nicer things like they have in Piltover. Both are right, and you can actually understand every character's way of thinking because their reasons are always valid. And it's something I love about season 1, how complex things are. And I was kind of disappointed with season 2 on that side, because season 2 was more focused on brainwashing the entire universe, which is so far from the plot we have in season 1 where it's like social complexity. I think that was kind of disappointing. I still loved season 2. One thing you will never hear me say is the fact that I hate ARCANE, okay? Everything I will say in those videos I'm gonna make about ARCANE comes from a place of me loving that show so fucking much. I'm just saying this in case people think I'm hating on the show. I'm not. I'm really not. This is one of my favorite shows ever. That's why I'm saying all this. It's because it's my favorite show that I have to point out things I was disappointed in.
Did Vi kick their asses?
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't be here otherwise.
Oh, she showed me a couple of moves to practice. Look!
I love Echo. Unlike Milo and Clagger, who are also adopted by Vander, Echo is more of Benzo's son, but they still have this very close sibling relationship with especially Vi at first. I love Vi and Echo so much because they really have this big sister, little brother energy. And I love how cute Echo is at first. He is so fucking happy about everything. And then you see how he grows up to be much less energetic and much more like brooding and angry, because that's just the world that shaped him like that. He's definitely one of my favorite characters, but I think it's really sad and at the same time amazing to see how he lost that spark of him being an innocent, happy child.
He paid in gold and didn't even haggle. I charged him double price. Sucker.
I love how Jace is just a loser.
Oh, crap.
You know, this is something I wonder. There you can see the enforcers wear the masks they use to protect themselves from the Grey that we see in season 2. Maybe the Grey was still part of Zaun at the time, and that would mean that Caitlyn's mother dealt with the Grey between Act 1 and Act 2 of season 1. Or maybe it's just part of the enforcer uniform.
Well, hello.
Okay. Fuck you, I hate that man. I know I said I love every character on the show, except Marcus and Maddie. I love Grayson though. I love how Echo is basically just thirsting for tea. This man loves gossip, and that's so slay.
Lovely chap you brought.
That's the mask he has when he becomes one of the Firelight, or like a version of this. And right next to it, it looks like Liandry's mask, which is an item we can find in game.
That workshop belonged to the Kermans.
This scene already shows how the Kermans are basically the most influential people in Piltover. Even like within the council, the name with the most power is Kerman, which also plays a big role in Caitlyn's personality. But I like how they already say how the Kermans are very important people, even though we've never met any of them.
I'm sorry, Grayson, but I can't offer up my own people.
I love this. It's something that we will see later on. This idea of loyalty being at the center of everything in Zaun is very important, especially for Sevika's character.
If you change your mind, this will reach me. And only me.
I like Grayson. Obviously, it's really hard to like anyone in a position of power from Piltover because of what happens in Zaun. But I feel like Grayson is such a genuine character, and that she has actual good intentions. Like, she's trying to keep things quiet. She's trying to avoid any big problems with Zaun, because she knows that if Topside decides to raid Zaun, they're fucked.
I'm not a fighter.
You don't have
She's
to
not. That's what I said earlier. She is not a fighter. And like Vi says, you don't have to be, oh my god, I want to make the deep dives on the characters so bad. I will do it, that's for sure, and I'm really excited for it. But when I started thinking about like how I would make the deep dives, I was like, what if I miss something? So I was like, I need to rewatch the show. And then I was like, well, since I'm rewatching the show, might as well record it. So here we are. But when I'm gonna be editing the video, I'm gonna be like taking notes of everything I want to say about the characters.
When I was a kid, some guy took my favorite toy and threw it up there. We've all had bad days, but we learn and we stick together.
I love that scene. Once again, Vi is an amazing sister, and I will not listen to anyone saying otherwise. Second thought about that scene, this rabbit is actually on Jinx's balloon when she joins the war in season 2, episode 9. And when I was watching the episode, I wondered, I couldn't remember this conversation. I knew it happened, and I saw the rabbit when I was watching episode 9. And I was wondering what could be the meaning of Jinx coming to war with that rabbit. And this conversation is about Vi telling Powder that we've all had bad days and that you're gonna make mistakes in life. But what matters is that you can rise up again and do better, and that what matters is sticking together. And this idea of sticking together is actually what we see when Jinx arrives with the entirety of Zaun. Sticking together. She has the rabbit, she made mistakes, but she learns how to move past those mistakes and stick together with Zaun and fight.
Should we show Vander?
No. Let's keep this our little secret.
I hate this and love it. Vi protects Powder by being like, you have to keep this a secret. She doesn't know it's a fucking weapon, okay? She doesn't know it exploded. She thinks it's just like random crystals. But she told Vander that everything disappeared. So she thinks at that moment that if Powder never brings up the crystals, never tells anyone that the crystals are from that crime scene, then it's not gonna be a problem. So that's the first no reaction, like right away, no, don't tell anyone. But then she sees how Powder gets a bit worried and offended. So she speaks in a more soft way and she's like, it's gonna be a little secret, you know? Like she's talking to a kid. And it works, like Powder is like, oh my god, yes, a secret. Once again, Vi protecting Powder and still slaying as a big sister.
You're stronger than you think.
Real.
And one day, this city's gonna respect us.
Also real. I love that guy. That's probably his only scene where he doesn't get fucked by Vi.
About you. That's not a risk I'm willing to take.
You know, that's still something I can't understand from season 2. Because I was fine with knowing Silco was the bad guy in season 1, okay? And in season 2, they give us this scene with Silco and Vi and Jinx's mother. And she's like, you two, Vander and Silco, have to fight for the kids in the lanes. You two have to make Zon a better place. And it becomes something they want to fight for. But watching season 1 with that knowledge feels weird because here Silco threatens children and makes children fight for him, which is basically the opposite of a better place for Zon. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense to have him at the same time be this bad guy and be someone that wants a better future for Zon. I love Silco, but that doesn't make sense.
The topsiders are up in arms looking for him.
See,
Vander's in trouble.
See, I understand his beef with Vander. Well, actually, no, I don't understand because we never saw what happened. We know that he tried to kill Silco. We don't really know why. But if you want a better future for Zon, it doesn't make sense that you see the Undercity being in trouble as an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? To me, this scene doesn't make sense with the knowledge that Silco is supposed to be like fighting for the future of the lanes.
It's almost ready.
Sometimes I forget how normal Singed was. This really shows how he got obsessed with the experiments. He looks fucking normal like this. He has no scar, no nothing. He looks like your random neighbor. And then in season 2, he's like disfigured, scars everywhere. He uses himself for his experiments. That really shows how far he went.
Someone just volunteered.
Well, it feels nice watching those episodes again. Especially when you know what's gonna happen and how Shimmer is basically gonna be the root of everything going wrong in Zon. I think it's interesting how both Shimmer and Hextech are seen by the people of Zon and Piltover as an upgrade of some sort. Hextech is used to improve lives in Piltover, and Shimmer is used to give more power to Zonites. So they're supposed to be like seen as good things from both sides, and yet they are the roots of every problem. Like Shimmer is the reason why Zon gets too powerful and Piltover wants to use Hextech for weapons, and Hextech is the reason why Piltover has way too much power over Zon and lets Zon to die basically, which is the reason why Zon tries to attack Piltover, and it creates that civil war between Piltover and Zon. Well, in a simple way. I mean, obviously the beef between Piltover and Zon is much older than Hextech and Shimmer, but it's really like the two pieces that accelerated the problems. But yeah, I really love how Arcane is a show you have to watch multiple times. I feel like I'm noticing new things every time I watch the show, or that I understand things better every time I watch the show, which I can tell you I've watched, especially season 1, because there was this whole 3 years gap between season 1 and season 2, and I've spent those 3 years watching Arcane season 1 many times, and I still discover new things. Like, well, it's mostly like discrete Easter eggs that I pick up now, but since season 2 dropped, I can now look at season 1 with the knowledge of season 2 and try to pick up like new foreshadowings and parallels, which is basically what I'm gonna be doing with why am I so raspy? I'm raspy today.
Oh my god, she's raspy today.
But it's basically what I'm gonna be doing with this type of video, like trying to pick up foreshadowings, parallels, details from the show and expressing my thoughts on it. I've seen several people, which is not something I was expecting, by the way, wanting to see my insights on season 1 and season 2, like on every episode. So I'm really glad to know that people enjoy my thoughts on the show. It really means a lot to me, and every time I see a nice comment, I swear I read all of them. I read every comment, and every time I'm reading the comments, you guys are so fucking nice. So every time I read the comments, I'm like giggling and kicking my feet. But yeah, I'm really grateful for you guys. And also, like, what the fuck, I have like more than 1,000 followers on YouTube now. It already seemed absolutely crazy to have around 500 followers when I was doing the editing for my reaction to episode 9. I made 3 videos and there are already that many people following me on YouTube. It feels amazing and scary as fuck. So I'm gonna try my best to not disappoint you guys with my content. But yeah, for now, I guess bear with me, go through Arcane entirely with me, and once I'm done going through the whole show, I will be doing the videos I really want to do, which are the deep dives of the characters. So yeah, this is gonna be a long ride. I hope you guys will like it, and bye!